So as you know, yeah. So as you know, yeah, we have started a new topic and almost we have completed the two code labs. I guess yeah, on Wednesday we have completed the two code labs and we have left remaining with the last code lab, that is how to get data from the internet. So in the today's meeting, guys, we'll finish it off that code lab and we'll start the new topic. So first we'll finish that code lab and then the today topic, what we are discussing on that topic code lab link I'll give after finishing the previous one. I hope it's clear for everyone. Yeah. So I'll just be back in 5 minutes, guys. So please be wait in a call. I'll just be back in the 5 minutes. We'll start at 11. The like the previous links have been with you, right? The two code labs what we have completed on Wednesday. Everyone has the link, right? Yeah. So as I said you earliest, we'll finish it off the remaining code lab which was left on Wednesday. So which was which was we thought to do on previous day. That's on Thursday. So yeah, we couldn't do yesterday, so we'll complete that one and we'll finish. We'll start with the new content. So at that time, I'll share you the link. So just give me a minute, guys. I'll share my screen. So yes, so this was the topic we were discussing on Wednesday. So we have left with the last code lab, that is get data from internet. We have finished the two major topics, that in introduction to coroutines in Kotlin Playground and also introduction to coroutines in Android Studio, where we discussed how it could be done and what are all the different synchronous, asynchronous codes and all. We have gone through those topics. So yes, now we'll enter to the new code laboratories and very important code laboratories, getting data from internet. So we'll not waste the time because we have to start with the new topic and we'll finish it off as soon as possible. Yes, guys. You see, before we start, let me start with a question. So let me ask you something. So when you open Instagram or YouTube or even a weather app, so do you think it of like where is the data is coming from? So when you open any of the app, so did you think where is the data is coming from? Yes. See, does it stored inside your phone? No. So it's coming from the internet, which means app does not store everything locally. They fetch data from the server. And today we are going to learn how to do that, how to fetch the data from the server. So you see, modern apps are not standalone. They are connected to the systems. Yes. So now let's understand what we are building. So you see, we are building an app that fetches, yes. See, we are building an app that fetches the Mars photo You're building an app that fetches the Mars photos from a server. And the app will send the request, receive the response, and it also displays the image. So this is the basic flow of every internet based app. So how you have to connect the internet, so in such a way that it should request, so it should send the request and it will receive the response, and finally the image will display over there. So, the app is just a client where the servers hold the real data. App is just like a small thing where the major role is played by the server, where the server is the real part where only it can holds the data. The app is just like a client. That's it. So you see, they have given the starter code. They have given the starter code over here. You could have gone through UI structure, data flow, and where to plug the APIs. They have all given those things here. So rather before writing the coding part and all, make sure you first understand the code and then keep on moving to next. So now we have came to the very important concept. We have entered very important concept, that is introduction to web service. Introduction to web services. Yes, you see, web service is it's a system that provides the data over the internet. Yes, web service, it's just a system which provides the data over the internet. For example, you see the weather APIs, Instagram APIs, Google Map APIs, etc. So now, how do we communicate with? So this is a challenging part. How do we communicate with the APIs? Yes, using something that is called HTTP requests. When by using the HTTP request, we'll communicate with the APIs. So when it comes to the types of requests, there are many types. There are some of the types. They are get, post, put, and delete. Get is for fetching the data, post is for sending the data, put for updating, and delete is for removing. So now I'll just explain you the for you I'll just give you a real life analogy, guys. Just think it of like a restaurant. Think of a restaurant where you place an order and kitchens prepares the food, then waiter brings the food. So this is how, when you compare to a web service, it works in such a way like this. You take it in an example like this, guys. See, your app is requesting. So it is placing an order like in a restaurant. Then it goes for kitchens to prepare food. So that is the server, which moves for the main category to help with understanding the things. And at last, waiter brings the food, which is the response given back by the server. So this is how you have to think it of in such a way, by taking a real life analogies. So this is exactly how the web service works. The web service works in such a way like that. First, app will be giving or asking for the request, then it will move with the server, and last it will come back with the response. So this is how the web service works. Web service and retrofit. So now we are introducing a very important tool that is called as retrofit. Yes, guys. So you see, retrofit is a library that helps us to call APIs easily. Yes, so retrofit is a library that helps easily to call the APIs. So you see, when we have, when we are doing without retrofit, so when we doesn't have any retrofit, then the code will be complex and it is very hard to manage. Yes, so without retrofit, there will be a complex code and it is very difficult to manage those things. So we are using the retrofit. With retrofit, the code will be clean, it will be simple, and it is readable. So this is what the user expects. So this is how the retrofit does. So what retrofit does, basically you see the retrofit sends the request, receive the response, and it converts JSON to objects. Yeah, this is what exactly the retrofit does. The retrofits first sends for the request and it will receive the response. At last it converts the JSON to an object. Yes, you see retrofit acts as a bridge between the app and the server. The retrofit will act as a bridge between the app and server. Basically, this is what we are going to connect. So for major bridge between app and server, we are using the best tool that is called retrofit. So why only retrofit means, because it reduces the boilerplate and where it handles the error, and it also works with the coroutines where we discussed on Wednesday coroutines. So it works with the coroutine, which helps us easily to collect all the things over there. Moving to the next, that is connecting to the internet. So now we actually connecting our app to internet. Yes. So this means sending API request. Yeah, we have to send the API request for connecting to the internet. But here is something important, that is network calls take the time. Yeah, network call will take a time. So we cannot run them on main thread. We cannot run those things on the main thread. Otherwise, the app will freeze. If it does on the main thread, then app will freeze where the user don't like that particular part. So we use the coroutines plus IO dispatchers. Yes, we use coroutines plus IO dispatchers. Where by using this, the app will not gonna freeze, and it will be either even the UI phase or even the background, what are all the things running in the background will go smoothly, where the user will have the better experience without stopping an app. So where this is what the network calls must always run in the background. Add internet permission and exception handling. So now we handle the real world problems. So the first problem is about permission. Yes, you see, Android does not allow internet access by default. It doesn't allow any internet access by on its own by default. We must explicitly give the permission. We must provide the permission. We must give the permission for it. The second problem is errors. See, what if there is no internet, server down, and timeout issues? So we must also handle these cases. So because user don't care about your code and all, nothing, they doesn't care any of the coding parts and all. They'll just ask the product. They will not ask any working procedures, hard work in between those things. No, they'll just ask, give me the better product. So user will don't care about those things. They just care about the experience. That's it. So you see, error handling, it's not just an optional, it is the part of development. Now comes the important topic, that is pairs the JSON response with the Kotlin X dot serialization. Yes. Now comes the major topic, that is pairs JSON response with Kotlin X dot serialization. So now we receive the data from the server. Now how we will, until now we got an idea about sending the request and receiving the response and all. Now how we look into how we'll receive the data from server, and also we'll get in mind in what format we will receive the data. See, in the format of JSON, in the JSON of format, we will receive the data from the server, where we are using JSON only because it is structured text. JSON is just a structured text. For example, name, image URLs, IDs, etc. So see, now we convert JSON into Kotlin objects. This is called parsing. So converting the JSON into Kotlin objects is called parsing. So where we use Kotlin X dot serialization, where we use Kotlin X dot serializations. So instead of working with the raw data, we work with the clean Kotlin models. Yes, instead of working with the pure raw data, we'll work with the clean Kotlin models, which is already been filtered over those some of the major things. So you see, JSON is like a raw ingredients where parsing converts it into cooked meal. Yes, parsing helps to convert the raw data, you see raw data of JSON into a complete cooked model, a complete refined model, uh, clean model. Yes, so this is what the pacing helps to do. So they have given the solution code. You can check the solution code and you could have understand some of the things over here. Yes, now let's summarize everything what we learned. So we learned how app fetches the data from the internet and what are web services, how retrofit works, basically the tool what we understood, how to handle the errors and how to pairs the JSON. And most importantly, we learned how real apps communicate with server. And one more thing I have to, before concluding, I have to say one more thing, that is, you see, an app without internet is just limited. You see, the app without any internet will be, it's like a limited part, limited code over there. But you see, an app with with internet is limitless. There will be no limit where there is internet for the app. So this is what you have to understand. So yes, guys, we are done with this code lab. So now just give me a minute. I'll share you the link of the new topic, what we're gonna start right now. See, you could have see your chats, please. I have posted a link of the new topic or the of the new content, what we are going to do today. I guess everyone can see right in the chat of the new link. Yes. So before the meetings end, don't wait until the last. Before meetings end, now only everyone copy the link and paste it to somewhere else. So after the meeting, you could have practiced the code labs. Yes. So just give me a minute. I'll share the another part of the screen of this particular code lab. Yes. Is my screen is visible and clear, right? Yes, guys. So in this particular code content, what we are discussing, that is on load and display images from the internet. How we load and how we can display the image from the internet. So you see in this particular code lab, we have two YouTube option videos. You could have watched it on your own, and they have given the two major code labs: add repository and manual dependency injections, and load and display image from the internet. We'll go across two major code labs. So remaining two code labs will be given you as a task. So which one is to practice, another one is for project. So this will be given you as a task. So we'll finish it off second and third code lab in the today's meeting, where when you have enough sufficient time tomorrow and Sunday and all. So make sure that the two code labs will be given you as a task and you will be completed in time. So let's start with the new topic and the new code lab, that is add repository and manual dependency injection. Yes, as you can see in the left panel, we have many things to come across over here. We look into the many things. Just give me a second, guys. Yes, as you can see in the left panel, they have given many major concepts to cover up in this particular code lab. Yes, we'll start with this particular part, that is add repository and manual DI. So yes, before we start this code lab, again, we'll start with the question, that is, see, when you build an app, do you write everything in one file? You see, the thing what I'm saying you is, for example, see, if you are building a simple app, uh, yeah, you're building a simple app in the Android Studio. So do you write the entire thing in a one file, everything in one file? No. You see, like UI, data, logic, everything together. If yes, then that's a beginner approach. Because in real world apps, we separate everything. Yes, you see in the Android Studio also, I guess if you build and what are the apps you are building in Android Studio, if you notice one thing, there will be many different things. There will, for each screen, there will be each particular different page. For example, for main page, for the login page, for the login page, and the next page, different screen, different screen. For the every different individual screen, there will be individual separate page, separate file for it. So this is what in the real world apps does. So we separate everything. Why? Because app grows, and when app grows, messy codes becomes a problem. Yes, when you think it of app growing, see, it will not at all stop by just building an app. We will just keep on going, adding many different ideas. We'll just keep on going, adding many different behind features. I mean, very most features which will be the updated to our generation. Yes, so will the app will keep on growing, it will not stop. There will be no full stop for our apps. It will keep on going, adding the features, the trending features and all to our apps. So when we moving on with the apps, growing up with the apps, so the code will, it will become messy and it will become problem. So today we are going to learn something very important, that is how to structure our app properly using repository pattern and dependency dependency injection. Yes, so this is how real companies build the apps. So you see, good code is not just working code, it's a maintainable code. So next, moving to the next part, that is separate the UI layer and data layer. So now let's understand separation. Just imagine the situation. Your UI is directly calling API. What happens if API changes? UI breaks. Now see, UI has two responsibilities, one to display the data and another to fetch the data. So that's very bad design. So we separate the layers, one with the UI layer, another one with the data layer. So where UI layer just shows the data and data layers where fetch the data. Yes, you see, when we keep on when we keeping on adding all the things in one particular part, it will be, you see, it will not be sufficient, it will not be very compatible, it will be in very, you see, it will look like very messy, it will very, you see, suffocating thing, it will very consistent and there will be no proper clear structure. So you see, if we design in such a way that if UI does everything, UI should only display the data, UI should only fetches the data, means it's very bad idea, because while doing this there will be no clear sufficient part. So that's the thing, you have to separate the parts. So when it comes to separating, there will be two layers, that is UI layer and data layer, where the UI layer for fetching the showing the data layer for fetching the datas. So think of, again we'll come to the restaurant part. So think of a restaurant where customer is like a UI, waiter is like a repository, and kitchen is like a data source. So you see, customer doesn't go to kitchen. Same way, UI should not go directly access the data. Yes, this is what you're gonna think in such a way like this. So it will be very easy to understand this topic for you guys. Yes. You see, customer can't go directly to kitchen. Exactly the same thing. When it comes to UI can't should not go directly for accessing the data. So you see, separation reduces the dependencies and improves the flexibility. Create data layer. So now you have to build the data layer in this particular phase. So you see, this basically the data layer handles many things, where it the API calls, the database, the data processing. It will handle these many things. And you also see, now inside the data layer, we introduce something called repository. We'll will introduce something called inside the data layer, that is called repository. So make sure that they have given the proper instructions, step-by-step instructions in the code lab. Make sure that go with the proper instructions and follow what they have been asked to do. So repository, yes. So what is a repository? Yes, you see, a repository acts as a single source of truth from the data, or for the data. Why repository? Why we should use repository? Because UI doesn't care where data comes from. UI does not at all care where the data is coming from. Could be API or the database. Yes, you see, repository hides data source complexity from the UI. So you see how the data layers is to be done, and why the repository is very important. Make sure that you're going correctly by doing the instructions, following the instructions properly. Now we are entering to one of the most important concept, that is dependency injection. Yes. So what is dependency injection? Let me explain with a simple question, guys. If a class needed, if class needs another class, should it create itself, or should it receive from outside? Yes, it should receive from outside. It can't create itself. It should receive from outside. Why? Because it is easy to replace. When we receive from outside, it is very easy to replace, it is very easy to test, and there will be loose coupling. You see, dependency injection means providing dependencies from outside instead of creating them inside. Yes, that is what the dependency injection means. You have to understand. Yes, when it comes to dependency injection, the first thing you have to come in mind, outside. Yes, you have to take, or you have to provide dependencies from outside instead of creating them inside. Yes, when it comes to dependencies, you have the one thing, the one word you have to come in, or it should come in mind, that is outside. Yes, you see, let's think it of an analogy part. Instead of cooking your own food, you order from outside. That's dependency injection means. So this is a clear explanation. You will understand very easily, guys. Yes, this is what the easy explanation. Just if you are not getting to explain the dependency injection, so just be clear, understand in such a way like this. Instead of preparing food or cooking food on your own, you will order from outside. That's it, the dependency injection means. Instead of the providing dependency inside, it will take or it will do from the outside. So this is what dependency injection means. Yes. Next part, that is attach application container to app. So now we need a place to manage dependencies. So we thought of dependencies, but we need a place to manage dependencies. You see, we create something called application container, where this holds the repository data source, and also it provides them wherever or whenever it's needed. Why means because we don't want to create objects again and again, so we centralize them. You see, application container is the factory of the dependencies. Add repository to view model. Just give me a minute, guys. Yes, add repository to view model. Now we connect everything. Now we have splitted or we have defined all the things. We have break down all the things. Now let's connect everything. Say view model needs data, but instead of calling API directly, it uses the term called repository. So how the flow is be done, that is, from the UI, it will move to the view model, from the view model to repository, repository to the last, that is data source. So this is what the flow. Why this flow? Because UI stays clean, logic stays in a view model, and data handles by repository. This way you have to understand the things. So you see view model talks to repository, not directly to API. That's why add repository to view model is very important, where view model will not talk or will not coordinate directly with API. It will talks to repository where it conveys to the APIs. Get startup for local tests. Get set up. So I'm sorry, guys. Get set up for local tests. So now comes testing setup. So you see, this is a very small concept, but very interesting part. We prepare environment for testing because we don't want real API in tests. You see, test should be fast, reliable, and independent. Test should be these things. And you also know we isolate the dependencies. Creating a fake data and dependencies for tests. So now we'll create the fake data instead of the real API. We are creating the fake data instead of the real API. So why we are using the fake data or fake repository? Why? Because there will be no internet dependencies, and it is predictable output, and it is very easy for testing. So that's why we are creating the fake API. It is very easy for testing. And fake repository returns static data, and also the fake data makes testing stable. Next, moving to that is write repository test. So now we have created the fake dependencies for the test. Now we are testing the repositories. So we check data is written correctly and logic works properly. Important is testing ensures the whether the code behaves as expected. Does the key lines if it's not tested or it's if it's not reliable. Yeah. Now we have come across with the right view model test. So we have done the repository test. Now view model test, where which it helps for making the fake data into a creating a new repositories, and also it extends in the new mass photo which is created with the repository part. So this is what create the fake repository, as I said you earlier itself. And when creating the writing the view model test, it has to create the name called mass view model test. And you also know, while make sure you're writing the code and all, you're going with the proper flow what they have given in the correct instructions. Yes, now let's summarize everything what we learned in this particular code lab. So you see, we looked into many things, that is how to separate the UI and data, what is repository, what is dependency injection, how to manage dependencies, and how to test using the fake data. And most importantly, we learned how to write a clean architecture. So this is what about the first code lab. We'll finish it off uh, as soon as quickly the this code lab, that is load and display images. Load. Now we are entering to next one of important topic, that is load and display images from the internet. So yeah, before we start again, we'll start with the same. Let me ask you again something, guys. Yes. See, when you open Instagram or Amazon and all, what do you see first? Images, yes, not the text or not the code. You're gonna look the images, because images are most powerful way to communicate than the other things. So now here's the question is, and are these images stored inside your apps? No, they are loaded from the internet. So today you're going to learn how to load and display images from the internet in Android apps. Again, the Mars part, what we have discussed, get data from internet. So you're going to build this particular part. So you're building an app that should fetches image URLs, and it should be help to download the images and display them on screen. Not just one image, but the multiple images what you're looking on the screen. And also you see, and we you should also display them in a grid layout, just like an Instagram. So you see, images are not stored, they are fetched and rendered. So display and download image. You see, display and download image. See, they have given the links and all over here. When you click on it, it will directly navigate to and GitHub, so that you could have take the things over there. Yes, and make sure that you go with the proper instructions where they have, when you're doing the proper codes, you will display with the URL where you could have download the first. It will see what when you're doing the coding parts. First, it will display with the URL where you will mention where we are mentioning the first mask image URL results I image src image source, where when you do this thing, it will automatically, when you run the app, it will generate the URL. When you clicking on the URL after doing once again the coding parts, and when you're clicking on the URL, the URL will convert or it will provide you the image. So let's start with a simple, that is displaying a single image. Now here's the challenge, where images are heavy and they take time to load. So now we cannot load them on the main thread. So we use the libraries like Coil. You have to use the libraries like Coil. Kids can see they developed a library called Coil to download, buffer, and decode and cache your images. So what Coil does means it downloads, it helps to download images, caches it, and displays efficiently. So image loading is not just this, it's not just display, it's optimization. So think of ordering food from online. You don't cook it. So you request, wait, receive, consume. Same with the image. You will request for it and you have to wait, then you will receive. At last the image will be displayed. Display a grid of images with a lazy vertical grid. Now we scale the things. So you see, instead of one image, we display the multiple image. We have to display the multiple image. So the question is how to display it efficiently. So to display it efficiently in clear part, you should use the term, you should use the thing that is lazy vertical grid and lazy horizontal grid for displaying it. Why lazy, or what is lazy? Because it loads only visible items. So you are using the lazy, not at all once. So it will just load only the visible items, not all the things at once. So you're using the lazy. Why it's important means because it saves the memory and also it improves the performance. You see, the lazy components render only what is needed. It's just like a newspaper, guys. You see, in the newspaper, we'll not read every pages, we'll not read all the pages. We'll just go with the major topics or we'll just go with the major headlines. That's it. It's just like that part. So next that is add retry action. So now let's understand the real world problems. So what if internet fails? What if image fails to load? So should app crash? No. You have to provide retry option because see, if network is unreliable, user should have the control for it, the control over it. So the thing is the best idea to add the retry action where the good apps don't fall silently, they'll recover it, they'll recover gracefully. Here they have given you to updating the view model test, where you have to verify the does image load correctly, its hand does the error is handling properly, and does it that does the retry option what you have added it does it works. And why you have to test? Because the UI depends on the data, and also if the data is wrong, then the UI will go wrong. So make sure that testing is to be done correctly and the testing ensures the consistencies. They have given the solution code. Make sure to go with the solution code. So let's conclude or let's summarize the things. So we have learned how images are loaded from internet, how to display them efficiently, how lazy grids works, how to handle the failures and how to test logic, and most importantly, we learned how to build a visually rich apps. So before concluding, I would like to say user don't remember the code, guys. They'll just remember the experience of the app, what they use or what you created. So this is what all about the today's code lab. We have gone through major two code labs. The remaining code labs will be given you as a tasks, which they have given one for you for the practice purpose and one for you to create the project. So yes, guys, this is all about the today's part. I guess everyone are clear with your task, right? Yes. So now then we'll conclude the sessions. So thank you, Anandol. It was a great day. We'll meet on the next sessions on Monday. Until that, take care, guys. Please make sure to complete all the tasks and all. So thank you, everyone. Have a good day, guys.